able to select the right one. You can't just go out and buy any camera that falls in your price budget. So we have a few cameras with us here today. We have one from Fuji, two from Canon and one from Sony. These are completely different styled cameras. For example, this Fuji is a very basic entry-level camera. It's got 10 megapixels, and that's one of the things to take care of, is that don't just go by the size of the camera resolution or the image resolution on the camera. So you want to buy a camera that isn't 15 megapixel. 8 megapixel is almost as good as a 10 megapixel or a 12 megapixel. You really won't be using the entire resolution. So there are many other things that you should look at before you buy the camera. One of the things to look at is the size of the screen. So you need to have a decent screen. You don't want something that is just 2 inches or 2.2 inches or 2.4 inches. A 3-inch screen is a very good screen these days. It's a good standard. Look at the quality of the buttons at the back and the controls. How easy is it to use the camera? So for example, certain brands have complicated menus. So if you wanted to delete an image, you would always have to click on delete and then go to OK and then click OK. Whereas you have some brands that can delete an image by just holding down a particular button or just pressing a delete button twice, and it's as simple as that. So look through some of the menus at some of the malls to get an idea of how these cameras operate. The next important thing is the zoom lens itself. So cameras like this, the very entry-level cameras, have a really small zoom lens. So they have somewhere around 3 to 4x optical zoom. That's about it. Digital zoom doesn't count. So 3 to 4x optical zoom on this, and a camera such as this Canon also has around 3 to 4x of optical zoom. The only difference being that this is a slightly higher end camera. It's a little more sleek and it's built a little better. And these are used. They're mainly stylish cameras. They're really compact, so you can just put it in your pocket and walk around all day, not having to carry a pouch or a bag along with it. So these are meant for a completely different audience again. You'll find that the buttons are a little better and so on. The optical zoom isn't all that great, but it's the biggest advantage is the size and the weight of the camera. So while we're talking of optical zooms, you have cameras like this which look almost like a real digital SLR, and many people think that digital SLRs are for professionals. Cameras like this are a bridge between point and shoots, very basic point and shoots, and a digital SLR. They have all the manual controls that you find on a digital SLR, and this particular Sony has a really large optical zoom. So this is 20x of optical zoom. If you were to buy a digital SLR with this kind of zoom, you'd spend well over a lakh or $1.5 at times, depending on the quality of the lens. So there are many manual controls that you can find on this camera that you won't find on this. For example, you can manually focus on the object here, whereas in the other cameras you'll have to let the camera select the focus target. So anyway, these cameras are built a little better. They're a little bulkier, obviously, because of the lens. So you need to decide what kind of camera you would use. This is for people who will go out on hiking trips and wildlife photography and that kind of thing. So if you wanted to go for parties and picnics, you don't want to carry a camera like this and hurry up and try to fool around with the settings while you're trying to shoot. So you're better off with cameras like the ones you've just seen. So these cameras that we just saw are called ultra zooms, or they call them bridge cameras, or they call them pseudo SLR cameras. One step behind that is well, the ultra zoom. It's similar to this, the one we just saw, but this only has a 10x optical zoom and is priced a lot less. This might be in the market somewhere around 12 or 13 or 14,000 rupees, whereas some of the other cameras might be a little more than that. So again, here the advantage is that it's a little more compact than this big huge ultra zoom that we just saw. It's 10x optical zoom. That's still more than enough for most of us. But yeah, the zoom is very, very important. Then you want to look at the kind of flash and the size of the flash, and also the battery type. So if you have a camera that has a lithium-ion battery, if you go out on picnics or long hiking trips, then you can't really replace the battery with another lithium-ion battery unless you bought one. So in such cases, you're better off with a camera that runs on AA batteries. You can just buy many of these in a shop and then go out. Right. The build quality of the camera is also important. So some of these really tiny cameras are a little difficult to hold, but with cameras like this you can easily, comfortably hold the camera with the grip. It's a little better with the larger ultra zoom cameras. The flash is important. Some of these cameras also have stereo audio recording. So when you're recording video, you have stereo audio recording in a camera. The specialty about some of these cameras, like this particular one, is that it can do 1920 into 1080. That's 1080i video recording, which is really impressive for a point and shoot camera, pretty much. You don't have to spend on a 40,000 or 50,000 rupee camcorder to get that kind of resolution. So you can use one of these. But you'll need to remember that you have to buy a really huge memory card for that, because some of these cameras don't compress video as well, and you might land up with videos of over a GB for just a few minutes of video content. The other thing to look at is the kind of memory cards that these cameras use. Some of the Sonys require you to buy the memory stick memory card, or some of the other brands like Canon use SD memory cards. SD memory cards are a little cheaper than the memory stick, but there's not really much of a price difference. It's a price difference of around 300 to 400 rupees for a 4 GB stick or so. Right. You'll see that this particular camera has a very good hand grip, so it's a lot easier to hold. The other specialty about this particular camera is the hinge that it has. So it lets me sort of shoot video with the camera, with the screen pointing down. It's a little easier to use when you're shooting video, for example. It's a nice feature. It adds to the weight a little bit, but it's a nice thing to have.
Okay, we have with us the Nikon Coolpix S220, which is a digital camera, and yeah, this is the box it's come with. Let's check it out. What's inside it? Cool box. Here you get the quick start guide, the entire user manual. User support, Nikon user support, the software suite, then the camera itself. We have a nice pink purple looking camera. This is the battery that comes with it. Just put it in. So let it start up. Let's see what's over here. Charger. It's a battery charger. The data cable for the camera. Nice little AV cable, and a nice little strap you can add to the camera. So this is the Coolpix S220. You can check it out in the digital camera test that's carried in the magazine, and we're going to play with this. You guys can log on to thinkdigit.com for more information.